Hey guys, this is Fumble Stuffing Incorporated. I'm here to talk about 5 more cards that could have been made better. These cards in themselves aren't necessarily bad. I mean, there's ones that need complete improvement. I mean, some Mirage are proven to make cards better, like TCG Pendulum Sorcerer. But, you know, there are just times where you just think cards can make so much better. These 5 are more or less the ones I missed the last time, because there wasn't much analysis to it. But I took a little bit more time to look into it and make a better selection of cards. So, that being said, let's get to the 5 more cards that could have been made better, and check out the previous video, by the way. Well, number 5 is Rainbow Dragon, the Crystal Beast Boss Monster. Well, this thing has Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Boss Monster Itis. Both, well, they're boss monsters. They're some of the best in the series, but only really by design. But by effect, they are just not good at all by any stretch, with cards like Neos Wiseman and Super Vehicroid Stealth Union being big reasons. Well, let's go over Rainbow Dragon as a card, shall we? Well, it's a level 10 Light Dragon, 4,000 attack, 0 defense, and it can only be spell summon from the hand, or from deck or graveyard with Rainbow Gravity, by having all 7 Crystal Beasts on your side of the field or graveyard. So, yeah, it can be easy with a trap, but by itself it's pretty difficult, considering you have to get all 7 Crystal Beasts, all 7 different ones, I might add, and get them all in the field or graveyard. They seem searchable by a lot of cards, but the searching requires you to jump through hoops to get one of each in there. Anyway, its effects are that, okay, you can send every single Crystal Beast on your side of the field to the graveyard to have it gain 1,000 points for each one. So, yeah, that's really good. I mean, it keeps the attack boost, I think, so that's pretty incredible for an attack boost, right? And the other effect is that it banishes all Crystal Beasts from your graveyard. It can spin every card in the field, including itself, back into the deck. What do I see as problems? Well, problem number 1, those effects cannot be used to turn it summoned. So, that makes it pretty bile. I mean, if I had to invest 7 or more cards, which are most likely have a bunch of them in your graveyard, to summon this thing out, I should at least be expected to use each of these effects on the turn it's summoned at least. They're not their own version of tunes. And the second problem is that, with the second effect, you have to banish every single Crystal Beast from your graveyard. And you will use multiples most of the time to get them. And considering that your only effective search monster is Crystal Beast, Sapphire, Pegasus, that's really a problem. So, this is the first entry on this, and then it'll only just get worse from there, let's be honest. Now moving on to the second entry, is every single new Toon monster ever made, aside from Brax Toon Dragon or Toon Dark Magician. The new ones, they have been bile, let's be honest. Aside from Toon Cyber Dragon, Toon Agent Gear Golem is pretty meh. Toon Buster Blader, Toon freaking, what's that thing called? Toon, okay, I forgot what that thing was called. Blowback Dragon, I think? Okay, let's not even go into that name. The Toon Barrel Dragon, yeah. But, it's so bad it's forgettable, let's be honest. But, I feel like that these Toon modules should have been made so much better. In what way? Make them actually attack on the turn they're summoned. Seriously, we have Pendulum Summoning now, and those monsters can attack on the turn they're summoned, and they summon multiples of themselves. So why can't this deck do it? It's because they think it's probably too broken? Screw that! At least they'll have a chance in the meta. They'll have some chance, not just sit there, just one turn, just chilling, just like, oh, I have Toon Kingdom. Twin Twisters and freaking Cosmic Cyclone are not out there, right? Just dang, man. They've really dropped the ball with tunes. They're more or less a joke deck, but I feel like this joke deck could be much better. So they make the second entry on this video. Well, the third entrant is Flying Fortress Skyfire. His is, in my opinion, the one definitive boss monster that could have been made much better than what it is. Well, I'll just go over it real quick. He cannot be normal summoned or set, but it can be special summoned by the effect of Summon Reactor SK, which requires all 3 reactors being Summon Reactor SK, Trap Reactor Wi-Fi, and Spell Reactor RE, all on the field for you to tribute to summon Flying Fortress Skyfire, none of which are searchable. So, that's really a lot to say, right? Well, its effects they're kind of good unless you consider the requirements. Once per turn, during your turn, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy 1 card in the field without targeting, which is very nice. 3,000 attack, 1200 defense, level 8 machine, it's really nice. But, its net effect is where it kind of gets me. It's not bad, but it could have been made so much better. And one of these effects can only be used for each turn, and it can be used during neither player's turn. When your opponent sets a card, you can pop it and deal 800. If your opponent summons a monster, you can destroy it and deal 800. What did they get wrong here? Well, they could have just snapped all the effects of the reactors. Because all 3 reactors on the field is better than one of this. Because you guys to deal damage and destroy continuous spells and traps, including Pendulum Scales. So, that on its own, outclassed the Skyfire. But wait, there's more. There is frickin' more. It's just a huge disappointment. You can't summon this thing with Dark Flat Top inherently. And, oh my gosh. What is adding built-in negation or built-in protection? It can be... Okay. You can get rid of this thing with Castell. Utopia of the Lightning. 101. All those without problems. At all. By any stretch. And this thing is so easy to bait out. I mean, chat card. It gets destroyed by it. Cool. Raigeki. See my problems here? I feel like this thing can be made so much better than what it is. But it's an anime boss monster. It's just not good. It's a headache to get out, and a bigger headache to make work. So now the second to last entrant is Spirit of the Pharaoh. Spirit of the frickin' Pharaoh. Let's go over this real piece of crap. Spirit of the Pharaoh. 1200 attack, which is not bad. Level 6, which is pretty decent. But it can't be normal summoned or set. It requires you to have First Sarcophagus use its effects. First Sarcophagus is a trap card, so it's inherently slow. But during each of your opponent's end phases, it gets another Sarcophagus, which has 3 of them. And if First Sarcophagus is destroyed, all 3 of them are gone. Or at least useless. But have all 3 of them live, and you summon Spirit of the frickin' Pharaoh. And what does this thing do when it's summoned? Well, it lets you bring back up to 4 level 2 or lower normal type zombie monsters from the graveyard. This is by far the most specific revival requirements I have ever seen on a card ever. And honestly, the best cards you can bring back is Clown Zombie and Pharaonic Protector. What even is that? I mean, there are much better ways to get rank 2s out there. Look at agents with Venus and Mystical Shine Balls. And honestly, this thing by any stretch is not viable. Just, dang man, you could have had much better summonings. Like, bring out like up to 4 level 4 or lower zombies. That'd be so much better than what we got here, right? Because honestly, there's just so many things wrong with this card. But all of them are pretty self-explanatory. Could have had better stats for what it required. It could have much better revival effects. It's just all around just bad. Just horrible. I am sorry, but this thing is just flat out awful. So it makes second to last entrant on this video. And now before heading off to number 1, I want to give a couple of honorable mentions. Being Niels Wiseman for being a monster that requires 2 monsters that don't synergize with each other at all by any stretch. And having Super Vehicroy Stealth Union requiring 4 monsters that are insanely unsearchable, and also has a battle effect that completely ruins it, and really ruins the great design of it. And now on to number 1, or the last entry at least, is Armityle the Chaos Phantom. Considering that it's easier to summon now in the OCG, which will come soon, but this is before the support was announced, so bear with me. Armityle the Chaos Phantom. It requires you to have all 3 Sacred Beasts tributed on your side of the field. Hamalon Loris Dragon Thunder requires you to have 3 continuous spells to get rid of on your side of the field to summon this thing, which in itself isn't bad because the card itself is good. There's Uriah, which requires you to have 3 continuous traps on your side of the field to send to the graveyard that are face up, I believe. It's back off, that's pretty good. And Raphael requires you to have 3 Dark Fiend type monsters inside of the field to tribute. And tribute all 3 of them to summon Armatile. So you go -12 to summon this thing, which is best case scenario until we get Dark Summoning Beast. So, what's the problem with this card? It can be destroyed in battle, this effect. And also, during your opponent's turn, it gets 10,000 points of damage. Or 10,000 attack points, actually. So, no back removal with Uriah. No effect damage with Hamon. No changing targets. No token spawning or gaining attack points from Raphael's effect. Just a 10k beater on your turn and 0 on your opponent's turn. I mean, granted, it has the highest, by far the highest attack points ever printed on a card in the TCG. But, you know, there are a lot of ways to just completely ruin this thing. I mean, there are plenty of ways to get rid of this thing. It requires a -12 in the best case scenario until we get Dark Summoning Beast. But, you know, it could have been so much more than what it was. It could have just stacked all the effects of the Sacred Beast or just mash them together to make this thing a real monster. Not what we got here. Just, gosh, man, why would you make a -12 to summon this thing? Just trying to look at the positives here. But I really can't find any with this thing that is not overshadowed by the bad. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys like it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And remember, if you don't got fluff, you ain't good enough.